reset everything one more time.
We did it. We did it.
Woo!
We are live. Let me make sure
Woo!
Instagram is going live. It is live. Everything. I think we did it. We're live.
Yay!
Guys, we launched a Kickstarter. What
Yay!
happened? This is so crazy. I don't even know what to say other than we launched a Kickstarter, and it's real and it happened. And I'm hanging out with I gotta point the right way. It's so funny you're on the wrong way.
Oh,
Hanging out
you're
with Madeline, who is our illustrator, who's here hanging out with
hi.
us. It's gonna be so good. I think we're gonna do. Let's see. I want to play a little bit. Ooh, I can change what it looks like too. So we launched a kids book. We're launching it on Kickstarter. I'm surrounded by colorful panels, cause things, and but it's such a. I'm excited about the kids book because it is a collaborative storybooks, fantasy adventures. The idea is it's settings to tell your stories, which is so different from a book that you read. And I think that was kind of the whole premise of the thing. And then I was like, but we gotta find the right kind of art, and to find the right kind of art, we need the right kind of artist. And then Madeleine appeared. And we had worked together on a previous project on Life is Good, which is out there and amazing. It's a parody on Life is Good, but with undead things. And I was like, hey, do you want to try another idea? And she said yes. It was great. So we're talking about our book today, and I think we will have some different people jump on and ask questions. We're going to see. I'm going to try to get it where I can see things so that if people ask questions, we're good.
Awesome.
And then the other thing I'm going to do is go share it on my Facebook.
Yes, and I'm gonna see if I can. Is it shared on mine right now?
Should be.
Okay. Let me see if I can make sure everything's.
Let's go
All right.
find out. It is.
I'm gonna share that on my personal Facebook because a lot more people are friends with me
Same.
than follow my page.
We did it. Hooray. Mine's out. Yours will
Cool.
be out. Everybody will be out. It's going to be great. I think we're getting all the streaming conversations happening. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Since this is the first time we've done it in so many different places, it's all like telling me, hey, you need to do all these things.
Yeah.
Okay, I fixed Twitch. I think TikTok is working. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening, but we're going to make it happen. And
It's on. I know it's on Facebook. So.
Hey, Explore Rooms is here on TikTok. They launched their zine and funded it basically immediately, and it is the coolest thing. It's another thing for kids, and it's basically like an easy to grab and go and use, not even like in a specific location or needing a lot of props. And you can do like a dungeon crawl, but I think he calls it a marshmallow dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun, problem solving, having a blast. So we've been connecting and talking about it because we both launched kids things, which is really fun. But there's also like a lot of other fun things out there. There's some amazing new games and platforms and things, and we are honored to be part of Zine Quest Month as a kids book. I think we're the only kids book because technically that's not a zine, and somehow we got in. Don't tell anyone. But it's gonna be awesome, and we're just having fun. I'm hanging out with Madeleine, our artist. We're gonna talk to her about how she does what she does because it is incredible. We're gonna show off some of the work, as you can see in the cover art right here, and we're launching a Kickstarter today. It's been out, and we just cleared $1,000 on our pledge towards 20,000, which will allow us to pay Madeleine and produce the book and do amazing things in the world of telling stories with children, which will be so much fun. So, Madeleine, I want to talk to you about your art.
Yeah.
You and I chatted, and I pitched you the project, and you said, I guess I'll give it a shot. No, you said yes. But it's not a small ask. It's a big lift, and you have come through with incredible pieces of art already. So we have the cover art, which you guys see now. We have the library page. This is just part of it. And this one is beautiful. How you made the sun rays come in, I'm still so. For those who don't know, Madeline, what type of medium do you use to draw all this?
I primarily use colored pencils. I do a little bit of extra digital touching up for all of and cleanup for most of my illustrations, but it's generally very minor. So almost everything you see is completely just colored pencil scanned in and cleaned up just a little.
So how do you
Those
make
are
the sun work? Because
so,
I
and
have
that
done colored pencils and they don't look like this.
is so that is all color theory, and it is all just practicing light over and over and over again. And it's a little counterintuitive because you would think you would put baseline colors underneath stuff and then kind of color on top. That's kind of where most people start trying to add light and shadows and things. What you really do is that you think about and you kind of look at in real life what those colors actually are when light is hitting them,
Oh.
and you color it that way. So for like the lights in the library, we have that color, that kind of stained glass window color coming in. And if you look at light shining through stained glass windows, you don't really see the grays and the browns and things that when you're looking through light. You just see the oranges and the yellows, and it changes the color of what you're looking at because color is all light. Light is color. It's very strange that
Yeah.
colors next to each other look very different.
It's amazing to me because I think in my head I understand perspective and like how to draw like to make it feel like it's deep. I still can't wrap my head around how you made the stained glass windows shine in the 3D with like the light flares. I don't know. It's crazy. It's so cool. I am so impressed with what you're able to do, and it's so much fun too. And that's what we're here just to hang out and talk about because we launched a Kickstarter. For those who don't know, we did it. Kickstarter is live for our kids' book, Collaborative Storybooks, Fantasy Adventures. I'll pull the book cover back up. This guy right here. We're so excited about it. And the idea is that it's a book of settings to tell your stories. So instead of a book that you read, you have settings to make up stories with your little ones and your families and anybody else you want to tell stories with, which is just a lot of fun. And my kid and I, so I have a 3-year-old, and he knows that I do Dungeons and Dragons, and he would always ask me about my dragon story. And then he started asking, can we do a dragon story? Of course. So we just started telling one. And he has an incredible imagination and has made up some incredible things. And one of the first times we did it, I did the classic, like, let's go get a dragon egg out of a dragon cave before the dragon gets back. What I made up on the spot because this was very impromptu. And at the end, the dragon was coming into the cave and we were stuck. And I said, what do you do? And he looked at me confidently and said, I pull out a bulldozer from my pocket and I make a hole in the cave. We're not playing by any technical rules, so
Sure, why not?
It was awesome, and we escaped because he had a pocket bulldozer, and we didn't know, and it was so much fun. And so, like even last night, we met a new dragon. I have them here. This dragon, one of his stuffies came in, and this one is now named, what was it? Fountain, because it's a water dragon, he decided, that sprays water. So, water fountain. It's very clever. It's like, I would never come up with that. And that's the fun part. The whole time, we're just making up things. So last night he took the reins of DMing without me even like prompting it, and 2 dragons met a turtle who then went to go find a shark.
I love that.
That was last night.
Well, kids have such great imaginations. My stepdaughter, when she was about 3 or 4, she had a whole series of like stories in her head, and she would just start kind of telling them. She had one of her favorites was that she had ghost friends that were her imaginary friends, and she would kind of carry them around. And sometimes they would get in trouble, and eventually she kind of grew out of it a little bit. But the way she grew out of it a little bit was she said, I'm bottling them. They're in bottles now, and I'll get them later. Uh, it was just amazing. And so her ghost friends are in bottles somewhere.
I
You
mean,
know.
what a easy like. Nah, we're gonna go solve this.
Yeah,
That's
so
so
now
good. But like, of course, why would you not? I think that's genius.
yeah,
It's crazy like how smart kids are, and I kind of feel like we lose imagination along the way as opposed to gain it. So it's interesting to like think through going back to where their brains are of pulling a pocket bulldozer out or jarring ghosts to solve the problem.
yeah,
It's so good. Yeah, Explore Rooms was like they have imagination superpowers.
yeah,
Yes, that. And that's the thing with this book, right? Is like we just want to stoke the imagination superpowers and give them space to do that. And at as young of an age as they want to start telling stories.
yeah,
And you can tell the stories to them first and then they can figure it out. But it's so good. Yeah, so the basic premise of how collaborative storybooks work, and this one being fantasy adventures, is you would kind of choose your characters, whatever those are, your adventurers. In our case, it is us and our stuffies in the story. You could just make up names of people and characters
hmm,
if you want to do that too. And then what I typically do is choose the problem of the day that we need to solve, and then we just run for it. And it's a lot of fun. So a few nights ago, we were making our way back to the Giant's Cave because that's what you do. And we're friends with the Giants. It's funny. The opening dragon story, besides the dragon running in the cave, was hey, I'm going to run a one shot for my friends. Here's the premise of the story. What would you do? And he made friends with the giant and figured out how to make the giant happy and solve the problem. That is not how the one shot went with my friends.
in a very different way.
They went in and they took care of it, and then they found out answers. And they were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yep,"
Good job.
which is just funny. It's just, I
Yeah,
mean, but that's how it works, right? And they're not normally just go in and do that, but it was that just happened to be how it played out, and it's really really funny. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. So he just has these crazy things, and so we were going back to meet the giant, and when he gets there, the cave is filled with snow. There's no snow outside the cave, just snow in the cave. And so they dig their way in, and they figure out there's this snowball that keeps sneezing, and every time it sneezes, it makes more snow. So he reaches into so he has a horse that flies and is extra long to carry more friends because
yeah,
imagination.
yeah, of course.
And it was like, so a Pegasus, he's like, it's a horse with wings.
No,
I
it's
was
a
like,
horse
okay.
with wings.
And so he was like, I reach into my horse feed bag and I pull out a carrot and I put it on its nose. And it's like, and it stops sneezing. And you eventually, but then it starts going, and so he figures out a mouth, and then it can kind of explain what was happening, and he like figured it out that way, which was super fun.
That's so cute.
So basically, the snowman lost his nose and started sneezing snow everywhere and filled up the giant cave.
Well, and
It's
that could have been a big problem for everywhere
it was
else
not
too.
great, yeah.
Yeah, everywhere.
So the giant was stuck in the snow somewhere, so they had to go thaw
Yeah,
him out, but not thaw out the snowman. And it was yeah, it never ends. It's so much fun, and that's really the point, right? Because so we read a lot of books with our kid, and I will be honest, I get tired of some books. Not because they're bad, but because reading it 500 times
Oh, about the 500th time of reading something, and you're just like, this only has so much we can get from it. This is.
Yep. Yep.
There was one that my stepdaughter really liked. It was about boo boos. It was about band aids, and I can't remember what it was called. I should because we read it constantly. And it had little band aids, but it was interactive, which was why she loved it. It was so interactive. It had band aids, and you peeled them off and you stuck them on, and then you repeated the same phrase and did that over and over again. And so she always loved those interactive things, and I think she would have loved something like this project. I know I would have.
Yeah,
As
me
a
too.
kid.
The interactive piece, right, is like
Yeah.
sometimes you like passively absorb books and their imagination kicks in. And it's great,
Yeah.
but like this is something else, which is so much fun. Oh, and the Midnight Tavern jumped on. Happy launch day! Thank you. We're excited. We just launched our Kickstarter. It's already going well. It is a big lift ask, but I think we're gonna get there by telling a whole bunch of people. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're really excited about it. So I just thank you for everyone who's already supported and who will. It's going to be phenomenal. We're hanging out with Madeleine. I pointed the right way this time. Our artist who has taken the yes of let's give it a shot and see what happens.
Yeah.
And she's going for it, and it is so good and so much fun. Let's show off the new page that you sent to me yesterday.
Yes. Absolutely.
Guys,
If you want to show it here, I can actually. I've got it.
Oh, she has the real one. Oh, what?
You can see. Hold on. Let's see if we can zoom in a little.
There you go.
There we go. There we go. I wanted to get the turtle.
He's my favorite. I love the turtle.
I'm pretty partial to the turtle. He came out well.
I've got him pulled up on the image now. Yeah. So in our discussions, we talked about let's have a cave, and then you were like, let's have an interesting light source that then does other things. And holy smokes, this is so beautiful. They're not even getting to see the full page. They're just getting the turtle and a little bit of the sun rays and some of the hidden objects. So walk me through a little bit. How do you come up with this?
I think a lot of coming up with stuff is having what we call a large visual vocabulary. You spend a lot of time looking at stuff and drawing from things that you love. I grew up loving the Muppets and anything Jim Henson and like the Dark Crystal. Growing up, glowy crystals were all the thing anyway. And so that's definitely something I've carried into my art, and I carry into like my fantasy art. Pulling together the light sources. We were talking about like you visualizing how that happens. I definitely have. We were talking about computers kind of short circuiting and whirring like they're really trying really hard. It feels that way in my brain sometimes when I'm trying to think through the light sources and I'm staring at it and my brain just kind of goes as I'm trying to load. It takes a lot of. The creative process is kind of stop and start. It's a large amount of it is staring and looking at it and going, I'm thinking about it. It's there.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
And then once you kind of get going, a lot of it is just trusting the process. There are points at which your art will look weird.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's going where it's supposed to go, and you just kind of have to trust that it's going to happen. And I felt that way a lot, especially on this cave. About halfway through, I was like, oh no, it's not working. And then it did. And it's exciting.
So a little behind the scenes for people. You sent me this like sketched out but halfway colored and said you'll have it tomorrow. Is your hand like extra strong? Like I can't imagine doing. I write my name like 6 times and my hand's like we're done. Because it's used to typing some, but that's about it.
I do a lot of hand stretches. I do
Okay.
a lot. And usually, this is not. I try generally to do about 3 to 5 hours a day. For this project, we were on a deadline, and so I did more, and I trucked ahead. Um, but this piece took me about 70 hours to do, give or take. But that's not my usual drawing workload, and so I do a lot of hand stretches. I do a lot of this and a lot of stretching out the fingers. I do hand strengthening exercises whenever I go to the gym or just at home. I'll do small wrist weights, anything to fight off carpal tunnel or whatever else can happen down the line. Um, and part of it is too that my technique generally, it involves some hard coloring, like hard pressure, but for the most part, my technique involves layering. And so with lighter layers. And so a lot of that pressure that would be on my wrist is almost entirely in like my elbow. And I do a lot of this, or it's all very like loose wrist kind of work. And so
Huh.
that helps keep my hands safe.
That's fast. So I was a athlete growing up, and like it is fascinating to think about illustration as needing a lot of the same pieces to but it's a physical activity that's repetitive. It fully makes sense. I'm trying to picture what it would look like for you to do hand strengths. So like we used to do this forearm thing where we like had a weight on a string and you had to like twist it up.
Yeah,
uh,
stuff like that.
yeah.
I'll grab a weight and do this,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
uh, which strengthens that, which is a lot of what I need is that ability to twist and turn. I'll also grab a weight and hold down at my arm and this and
Mm-hmm.
let drop and this and let drop. And
Oh, okay.
it's a lot of strengthening in here. Anything that'll kind of provide extra support here.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fascinating because it's just not a thing that I have done enough of to need that.
Yeah.
But you
Um,
said 70 hours for the cave.
yes, it took about 70 hours. My smaller pieces can take, 10 to 20, or even my little bitties, I do little squares sometimes for personal projects and to explore little ideas. Those will take 3 to 4, like nothing nearly as extreme, but big spreads like that take a long amount of time.
Yeah. No, that I mean that makes sense, but good grief. Um, you have also done a children's book before this.
I have,
Would you like
yes.
to tell them about that?
Yeah, it was my first project ever that I worked on with an author. I'd done a couple of personal things before, but nothing that I had gotten published, just the practice of completing the project. It was a really, really, really educational experience. The author I worked with, J.R. Evans, this was her first children's book too, and she was really great to work with. She was again, it was my first project, and so I was not nearly as good at deadlines as I am now. I'm much better at deadlines now, though I still can be off by a few days
You're
here or there.
doing great.
Thanks. But she was very patient with me. It was a really fun collaborative experience. It's called The Little Boy Who Followed the Light. And it also had a lot of really cool, it has a lot of really cool fantastical elements, and it's linked on my website, madeleineillustrated.com, as is our Kickstarter. I have both of those linked under my books page on my website. Um, and it's just a really beautiful story. It's very allegorical. It's got a lot of metaphor, but it's also a very straight up kind of adventure story. So you can read into it a lot, or you can not, however you decide to.
It's I have checked it out and it's amazing, and it definitely made me like, okay, I gotta ask her. I think she would be great at this. And then we were on a call for something else, and I was like, "Do you have 5 minutes? Did you expect this as that?"
I did not, but it's so exciting. This is such a cool project, and I feel like I have so much creative freedom, and it's pushing me as an illustrator so hard, which is amazing.
Good.
I'm loving getting to experiment and try new things. And again, it's coming out okay. So yay!
It's coming out more than okay. I don't know what to tell you, but it's beautiful. So let's show off the library again, which is amazing. Yeah, Midnight Tavern said the colors are amazing. I love the colors. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and they pledged as a retailer. Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, thank
So
you.
the Midnight Tavern, they do all sorts of like TTRPG, like almost like a bookstore kind of vibe.
Yeah,
And so to pledge as a retailer means they bought 5 copies.
thank you so much.
That's so fun. Ah!
Yay!
All right, should we do an update?
Yes.
Let me refresh. We were at 1,200.
Woohoo!
Getting there.
Thank you guys.
Let me see. The dashboard gives me a percentage, which is always a little scary. 6%. 6% there.
Woo! Hey, it's day one. We've been open. We've been launched. What? How many hours?
Not many.
Yeah, not many. 6% is pretty good. I think we're doing
I
okay.
feel
Thank
great
you,
about it.
guys.
This is with 13 people.
Yay!
Everybody's been incredible so far. This is so good. Yeah, we're just having a blast talking to our illustrator of our new book, Collaborative Storybooks, Fantasy Adventures. It's a book of settings to tell your stories. So instead of having a driving narrative, it is a book of settings so that you can create the stories with your ones that you're telling stories with. And it is so much fun. I see the Cybolds, some friends of ours are on Instagram. It is extremely exciting. We're just having a blast. I cannot believe this might become reality. My mind is still blown. And yeah, so with Kickstarter, we have to make our goal to make it happen. But we have run the numbers, and if we make that goal, we can pay Madeleine correctly, and we can print all the things that it would take to do. It's a weird. It took a thing. It was like, how do we get to this number? But then we have to print these things, and then we figured it out. So if we can make our final goal by the end of the month, or really March something, March like 3rd or something, then it becomes reality, and we will make it. And then the timeline goal is to have it done around Thanksgiving, so that you guys will get it for the holidays.
Mhm.
That's the goal. Now,
Yes.
we're a little bit ahead because we have a cover and we have 2
Mhm.
spreads already. But there will be 15 spreads, 2-page spreads, when we are finished. So many settings to tell your stories. The back cover will have thumbnails and page numbers. So the idea is that we want it to be really easy to use, so you don't have to go find the table of contents. It's going to be on the back, so that you can be like, and now we go to the castle, and when you turn it over and you're like, that's page 12. Boom, you're in. Those type things. So it's going to be, I'm just excited for this to happen. I'm excited for us to make our goal and then make it real. Speaking of real, we've been shopping for printers, and I printed
Yay!
a proof. The lights are going to make it all shiny, but that's okay. It's fine. But it's real. So I think the size we're going to land on is 11 by 8.5 landscape. So sort of a regular sheet of paper size, but when you open it, it's twice that size. So it's long. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Can't even get it in the shot. It's so long. There we go. I'll go the wrong way. There's so much art. It's so good. Let me talk about another piece of all of this that I love is the things that are being hidden in all your art pages. So not only is it just a setting to tell your story, there are things in the setting to help you inspire said stories, which is just super exciting. I'm really excited about this. It's going to be fun. So tell me about some of the things you're hiding. Ooh, I'm getting a little echo,
Ooh,
I
okay.
think, from how loud I am in your end. Hello. Better. Okay. That's fine.
All right.
You're good. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
but
what are you hiding in there? Because I have noticed them, and I will be honest, every time I look, I notice another thing.
yeah, a lot of it I'm I've got a set of symbols that I'm using that I sent to you,
Hmm.
and I'm hiding little bits of those here and there. So if you wind up using a couple of pages and there's a symbol here and over here, you can create narratives, or you can say, hey, what do you think that symbol means? Where do you think this could go? Why is this connected? And I'm not drawing those connections, but they're there to create that story. Um, I've got I've got those symbols, and it's about 10, I think, symbols or so. Not a whole lot, just enough that there's some variation. I've got those hidden in the stained glass and in the candles. I've got little details here and there, like in the library, we've got a whole bunch on the table. There's a ring, and there's the candles have symbols. There are symbols in the rugs. There's stuff on the bookshelves. The books themselves are blank because they could be any books, but there's stuff in the bookshelves. There are extra little candles and extra little symbols, and there's like, I think, a flower in there. There's a lot to discover, and the goal is what I hope for, and what I'm hoping for in composition is that the composition of what I'm making draws you in, that it leads you across the page, that your eyes naturally wander throughout the page in kind of a direction. And that's always the goal with composition. With more traditional storytelling illustration, the goal is to, is more of a focal point, or it's to guide you in a specific direction. But the goal with these illustrations is to guide you everywhere. We want you to explore the page without it feeling overwhelming.
I mean, I think you've nailed that. So now I'm curious how I have fully felt that as I look at your art, that my eyes want to go everywhere. How do you do that as opposed to a focal point? Like what are you doing different that we may not realize?
I think of it in shapes. There's a book, and I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to link it in my Instagram. But there's a book that really changed how I drew and how I made storytelling composition. And it was a book of exercises where you just cut out big paper shapes and you lay them out. You think about what the story is you're telling, and you lay out just the shapes. And so I think in shapes. That's the first thing I think of first is, here's a shape here, here's a shape here. I think of shapes, and then you think of paths through those shapes, and you just pay attention to where your eye goes. You look at paint, and there are things you do besides that too. You look at old paintings and new paintings, and you go, how does this composition draw you in?
Hmm.
Where does this make me look? And you go from there, and it just bit by bit. And in my work, again, it's all shapes, and a lot of times colors can help with that too. So if there's with the cave, for example, the crystals are doing a lot of the work. The crystals come across the page, and then they come up through the river, and they're
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of that work to pull you in and through the page.
That makes so much sense now that you say it. But I didn't even like clock that that's what was happening.
Yeah.
But it's so good. I once again, I am not this kind of artist, and it is crazy how good this is. Yeah, just when you sent the front cover, and like I knew what we had chatted about. You had sent me like a teaser shot, but then when it was in, I was like, "Wowzer!"
Oh, I know. Which, thank you. And this creative process is a lot of fun. I know on your end, it can feel a little vague at the front end because my sketches are so bare bones. My sketches do so little of the heavy lifting. I treat my colored pencils like paint. Um,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and so so little of it is filled in until I do the colored pencils, um, until I'm coloring, and then it's there.
Because I think like when you send me sketches, is it blue pencil that you're like doing it with, or does it depend?
It depends on the page.
Okay.
So I have, hold on, I have a set. I use Prismacolor color pencils, and they're
Oh.
the sketches, and they're erasable, so
Uh-huh.
they look like however. And so the for the cover, I used blue because that blends in, that settles nicely under the green tones and all the blue tones and the gray. For the cave, I wound up, I think, doing like a pink underneath, very, because it just sits under the black really well, very easy to go. And I may be misquoting, maybe I did blue there too. Blue and green are common for me because I use a lot of those colors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of like, if I'm doing something in like orange, I'll do it in pink, or I'll do like a yellow.
Got it.
Something that will sit really nicely under those colors without me having to do a whole lot of erasing.
That's my mind is still blown just to like even you're thinking about the tracing color.
Mm-hmm. Every step of the way.
And then remind everyone how long you've been doing this.
I've drawn my whole life, but I have been doing this professionally about 5 years. I would say I really hit the ground when COVID hit, and then I spent the first couple of years really building up skill, and then I've spent the past few years really trying to build my business. But here I am.
Yeah, 5 years in, you have several versions of Alphabet, right?
Just one right now,
Okay,
but
Monster Alphabets
yeah.
that are amazing on her site, and like several other just really fun, clever things. And then now you have one children's book published,
Mm-hmm.
and we are heading towards a second,
Yes,
which is just crazy to say out loud.
it's so exciting. It is.
Were
I
were children's books on your bucket list?
Yes,
Okay.
very much so. When I originally had a music degree, uh, which was great, and I discovered that I dislike, except that I decided that I didn't like any part of being a singer except for the sitting alone in a room and practicing. Uh, and so I looked around a little bit. I tried a couple of things. I took some different courses at a community college for different things, looking for a career, and I really settled on illustrating. When I asked myself what I really wanted to do, I wanted to illustrate, and I wanted to illustrate children's books. I'd eventually like to do some comics, but probably also in the more children's vein. I'd love to branch out into board games, which means that this book is a really exciting opportunity because it kind of bridges that gap between game and book. And so it's very exciting.
What
But
is game? What is book?
yeah, but it's very exciting to get this. This project is kind of a dream because I have so much. You're granting me so much creative freedom and that ability to really explore and just create a world is so exciting.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is like I think I came in with the idea and the premise and like the vibe we were going for. I also know your skill set, and there is no reason for me to micromanage that.
Well, and
um,
the joy of children's books is that they are collaborative, which means that I can come in and you can go, that's not the direction. Let's try something a little different, and that's great too. Good feedback is,
yeah,
and creative freedom. It's all kind of fun. It's all enjoyable.
and it's finding that balance, right? And I think we just did. I don't know if we like really worked hard at it. It just kind of happened, and I think that's part of this whole project was constantly steps like, and now an artist is exactly who I'm looking for with the exact style that I wanted, who's ready to make a kid's book, who just published a kid's book. She knows how to do this. This is great. Um, those pieces kept lining up.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes you find somebody you click with professionally for projects. You find somebody that it's really easy to just collaborate with and make what you guys want to make together.
And it's
And I
been so
think,
much fun, and we're just getting started,
yeah.
which is crazy. Oh, other things we should talk about. Hang on, let me switch what it looks like. I have a slideshow version too. There we go. Okay. Other things we should talk about are characters.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit. Basically, you can create whatever character. I'm adjusting you in one of the feeds real quick. Your sizing was weird. There we go. That's better. Um, you get to create your own stories. There are no restrictions at all. You get to do whatever you want. If having characters would be helpful, uh, part of the Kickstarter is you can get what we're calling die cut characters. So it's a whole sheet of characters and monsters that you can either get a digital version of and download and print yourself, or we are working on a physical version with a printer that will send you a really nice, already cut out except for the little tabs that you break off, and then you have a double-sided character. Actually, you have 10 of them, characters and monsters, to add to your story. Um, and they are real fun.
They were so much fun to make too.
Tell
Um,
me what were some of your favorites? I have favorites, but
I've got a few of the originals right here.
oh yeah,
I think I've got my three favorites. I've got again of just the characters of five. I'm pretty pleased with these, but I think this one is probably my favorite.
oh, go a little bit towards your face just for how
Oh,
I have things cropped. There you go. Yes, she is on my list.
I think she is my favorite. I really love her. I was really pleased with how her hair came out, and how the fur lining on everything looks. I definitely, while making her, you can overcolor things, especially on light spots, and I was really proud of myself that I did not do that this go round
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
on those fur. I'm really partial to him as well.
Go a little bit.
Oh, yep,
There you go.
sorry.
Yep. Yeah.
I
As
was really
as
partial
a
to him.
paladin main, he's on my list. Yeah, he was like, I resonate with this guy.
Yep, and I also was very happy with this.
Was that the first one? I can't remember.
I think the necromancer kind of character was the
Mm,
first one I did. She kind of set the tone. She was very spooky.
I like her. She seems like she's both spooky and also like has a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like she's having a good time. She's enjoying this. This is
Oh yes. Oh yes.
um
We got a comment to add some of those examples on our Kickstarter page. Uh, I just did, like right now. So refresh it and go look, and make
yay!
sure I saved it. I had like a coloring page version, but no, they're right.
Oh yeah, there they are. Look at that.
We need the color. We need the fancy. So it's there now. We did it.
Yeah.
It was a great helpful uh, feedback. So thank you, Explore Rooms. Woo! We're just having fun meeting people too in this space, and that's been the whole thing with me being in the TTRPG space. I fell into it accidentally because I needed friends after a pandemic and changing careers and working from home, and then I started making shirts for my friends, and then other people wanted those shirts, and then other people asked if I could make their things, and now we're making a kids book. But the community is so collaborative and generous and like builds each other up, which is not true in all other communities. Sometimes there's a lot of competition around different things, which is really sad. But I have not felt that in the TTRPG space, and it is so cool. And just like even that of like, hey, here's an idea, and it's like, yeah, you're right. Let's do it right now. Let's fix it. Which is so good. I love it. Whew. So the characters I think would be really fun, and like I said, we're making them two-sided if you get the physical one, so they can face either way or whatever. Your slime is up right now on the slideshow. Oh, and then it goes away. But it's just it's just so cool. I love all of this. Let's talk through the general premise a little bit again. Just for anybody who's jumped on, we've had people in and out and some hanging out the whole time, which is really fun too. The general premise is it's a book of settings to tell your stories. So there's not a driving narrative, but there's settings to tell your story. So if you want to tell a story about a castle, flip to the castle page, start talking about it. If you go from the castle to a cave, you look on the back cover, you figure out what page the cave is, you go to that. You should go to the cave because it is beautiful and amazing, and we just launched that design. I just put it up, and it is so good. And there's a lot of hidden things in there that can be story prompts. You can barely see it in the way that I cropped it for this one, for the live stream, but there's a backpack hiding inside there, and some other things, and it's, guys, there's so much mystery. It is so much fun, and kind of one of our hopes is if this goes well and we can make the book on our social media with collaborative storybooks, we'll come on basically every week and give you a new way to use the book or a new story prompt, just to keep helping each other be inspired. And we'll figure out ways to collect that from people who have the book, and so that we can just constantly be helping each other tell amazing stories, which is the whole point of all of this. In the end, I wanted to make a book for my kid and turn it into something way bigger than than the initial thought, and that's fine. It happens. But we're hanging out here with Madeleine Illustrated, who is our artist for our book, and incredible. This will be her second kids book, the first one with us, and gosh, it's amazing. I'm so excited. Let's talk about, oh no, hang on. Of course, in the middle of a stream, your computer says, ready to run updates?
No.
No. Do not. Can you imagine if I clicked the wrong button right then?
Oh, Lord.
I would have just gone away. We would have gone away. And
no more live stream.
I mean, with how frustrating it was to get it started, because of course technology was being silly, I think we would have just called it.
Technology only decides it's going to be silly when you need to do stuff. Otherwise, it's running
That's
fine.
actually true. I think it could probably be proven scientifically.
Yeah.
The other thing you should never tell you're in a hurry for is a printer.
Oh, no.
Never tell the printer you're in a hurry. It will not work.
You got to throw some holy water on it.
Yep. So one thing I thought would be fun is talk about some of the other settings that we're going to make.
Yeah.
So I just pulled up our list. So the library will be kind of the starting point. So it's a classic setup in like TTRPGs or Dungeons and Dragons that you begin in a tavern. We did not think that was the best setting for a kid's book.
Yeah, for children. Explain it. Well, a tavern's where grown-ups go and
as soon as you have to explain it from a marketing perspective, yeah, you're out. You've lost it, which is really... So we didn't want to say, so you start in a tavern with kids and be like, but they have milk, or it's a cookie bar. No, it's a library. Kids get libraries. Let's go library. So that's like the first page. If you do the beginning thing, like we've set up the intro of the book and what to read the first time that you do the book, that just kind of like kicks you into the story. And then from there, you can do whatever you want. You also don't have to do that at all, and you can just start picking stuff. But we have lots of other settings that we have talked about. So the library and the cave are the two. We're showing the cave right now, and there are so many things in the cave. Other things we have talked about is doing a castle. So we'll do that. Some sort of forest and woods kind of dichotomy there. A lake and a mountain, a waterfall. What else have we talked about? A farm, maybe? Something like that.
Like a witch's cottage.
Witch's cottage, yeah. Yeah, just kind of mysteriously there. Yep, that. I think that'll be really good. I'm getting that echo again. I don't know why. We'll figure it out. Yeah, the witch's cottage. Maybe even like a wishing well could be interesting. What do you wish for? What's down there? Who answers?
Who answers? That's the scary question.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to know.
We encourage non-scary storytelling before bedtime. Only spooky stories in
I
the
mean,
daylight.
as a parent of a 3-year-old, if you want them to sleep, yes, I would think you should
Yes.
do that. And if they're not sleeping, you're not sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So
If you're looking for an all-night party, then spooky stories it is.
exactly that. So we're just so excited to launch this book, collaborative storybooks, fantasy adventures. It's a book of settings to tell your stories together. I'm going to be doing this with my 3-year-old. I think we've started telling these stories a year ago, so I think we could have done it even younger. It just didn't exist yet, so that's why we're going to make it. But we make it with your help. If you help support our Kickstarter, which is live now, I don't know if I've refreshed this and if anything has happened on it yet. So we're at 1,200 pledges, $1,200 pledged. So we're getting there. 13 backers. You guys are amazing. Make sure to check it out at collaborativestorybooks.com or go just on our links in our bios and our websites and everything else. It's everywhere. It's going to be so much fun, and we're so excited about this. And just having a blast hanging out with Madeleine. I did it the right way this time. Just
Well, and
talking.
on my screen, you're below me, and so you're pointing to nothing.
Okay, that's really funny. Wait, hang on. I guess on the wide version, so Facebook and YouTube, you're there, and
Yeah.
then Instagram and TikTok, you're here.
But on my screen, you're down there, and I'm up here. So.
Where is anything? And I'm in a weird like color room. More of the behind the scenes. Now I'm not going to focus. As we were setting up, my camera, my typical setup, fully crashed my computer, restarted everything, and had to quick fix a background. And here we are. You know, it works. We made it happen. What else can we know that you're hiding in? Oh, we could ask this. We haven't answered this, so maybe we could vote as we go further. Like, what's the next setting we should do?
Yeah.
It would be hard to pull up a poll on all of the different platforms we're streaming on right now, but we could just generally ask. So we have the library. That's a go.
Yeah.
It's done. It's amazing. You can see it on the screen. We have the cave.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. I'm so excited about all the hidden things in it, and the mystery of it, and who dropped the rope down, or did they climb up, and there's so many things in the hole in the roof. So we have a library and a cave. What are the next settings we should make? Because we have a lot of them. Okay, someone, Explore Rooms just dropped one, and we might have to add it to our list.
Ooh.
Magic Shop.
Ooh. A magic shop would be really fun.
My mind just went 100 places.
There are so many things I could put in a magic shop.
It would be incredible. He's right. Every adventurer's favorite. I mean,
yeah, because you gotta buy stuff. You need supplies.
Okay. We had a couple spots we were like question mark on. We have now solidified one. Magic Shop.
Magic shop for sure.
See, this is it's collaborative storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it right now as we're making the book.
Well, it's very improvisational. It's all yes and. That's the.
And now it'll be interesting. So it's like some of the settings we're going to do where you're like outside the thing, and like the library, you're inside the thing. The cave, you're inside the thing. The magic shop, are you like at the counter and you just see shelves of things? Obviously, you have your powers to do what you need to. I'm just thinking out loud. I think it could be really interesting.
Well, and I'm thinking about, how from a kid's point of view, shops are a little different. Like, there are all the things underneath the tables that you can see, and in between the clothing racks and the things that make shops a little bit magical for kids.
Oh, I remember growing up, department stores, which I guess are still a thing.
I haven't been to one in so long.
And going to find the round rack.
Yep, so you could just hop in.
And then you were in your magical cave.
Mm-hmm.
And then your parents were mad at you.
Yes. without fail, every time.
Gosh, now I want to do that. Well, we might have to have a round rack in the magic shop now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need robes?
Can you imagine a magic shop with just magic robes just like on a little run?
It's couture.
I think that's amazing. Yeah. Well, so that's gonna make it in the book now. So explore rooms. Yeah, you did it. That is so much fun. Also, anyone that backs our Kickstarter, your name will be however you backed it will be in the book as a like thank you backers page. So that'll be a lot of fun too. And Madeleine will draw. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna make you draw.
Remember the 70 hours over here we talked about?
She said she would do it. She said she would do
it. The hand stretches. We got
it. Yeah, she'll do it. It'll be fine. It'll be great. So, what could go wrong? No problems here. I think it'll be really, really fun. Yeah, no, we did chat about if things go crazy and we have to like add other things, the possibility of opening up. So we have the characters and the monsters. Opening up just a couple of you could sign up to have your family drawn by Madeleine as characters,
which could be really fun if there's a demand for it.
We'll see. I didn't want to confuse people with too many ideas because we already have a lot of ideas. Another thing that is a possibility, maybe post Kickstarter, but maybe in the Kickstarter, is original art is an idea that we've had out there. I have dibs on the cover. And now maybe the cake. Gosh, I don't know. Do I want all of them? I don't have enough money. I'm not even going to make money on this, and I'm going to spend it. It's going to be great. No, who knows what would happen. It would be really, really fun though. What else did we talk about? What would be another fun setting? I think the wishing well would be really cool.
Yeah, the wishing well would be really cool. I know we're planning on some woods with some magic woods for sure.
You always go in the woods.
I think you talked about kind of like a river with like mermaids and things. A grotto, if you will. What was another one?
We had maybe like an oceanfront kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
That'd be interesting. Like you're at the shore. Are there boats? Are there not boats? All the things. What happens there?
How do you get a boat? Where do you sail to?
Yeah. Where are you going?
Yeah. Where did you come from? Where did you go?
The witch cottage would be really fun.
Yeah, the witch cottage is going to be fun.
But I
don't know, with the magic shop. We've got a magic shop now.
Well, but what if we're in the magic shop but outside the witch's cottage?
Ooh.
So you see the witch's cottage, but you're not sure if you want to go in or not.
Then we have the inside the magic shop. I like that.
Yeah. All right. I'm putting that in the notes.
All right.
We have like an ongoing Google Doc. If anyone wants to know how it all gets made.
Oh, it's a necessity. Everything's organized. I've got all of my file folders labeled and organized because otherwise everything gets lost.
Yep.
You're like, which one of these is the one that I already cleaned up and edited? I don't know.
Guys, it's so
fun. Well, and you combine that with multiple projects and it gets all sorts of fun if you don't label stuff.
Project managing. So my day job is I run a marketing branding company. So we help people tell stories. Weird how this connected, right? And
it's almost like you're good at this.
Project managing is I'm good at setting. I'll explain it. I'm good and bad at it. I'm really good at initiating a project. And that's it. I mean, I can follow through when needed. That is, if I could just launch things all day and that was my job, guys. Not that we're launching anything right now.
No, not at all. Oh, no, wait, we are.
A kid's book right now. in
It's
the
a Kickstarter.
Kickstarters.
It's right here.
Kickstarter, we're doing it, guys. We are launching something. A collaborative storybooks, fantasy adventures, settings to tell your stories. It's just an open world kids book with so many things to inspire you to come up with ideas, including the library, which we'll put on the. There it is. The library that has incredible things. On the table alone, there is a pen, a really long sheet of paper, another scroll, a book, a candlestick, but looks like fish, so maybe it could be a hidden symbol. Several other books, a ring, and dice, and that's just on the little table.
There are lots of things to explore.
There are 4 bazillion things in the library.
When you told me about this idea, the first thing I thought of when I was about 8 or so, I had a little magnetic book, and it was shaped like a book, but it was a magnetic container,
Mm-hmm.
and it had little magnets in it, and it had a big fantasy background on the back. And it came with me in the car, it came with me everywhere, and I would just sit in the back of the car and make up stories. And that was immediately what I thought of was, oh, this is like that. And it's like paper dolls. And it's like all of these really cool kind of toys that I haven't seen a lot of anymore. This is something that this is both old and new. And it's really exciting to kind of bring that imaginative play to the forefront.
And I think that's kind of the goal, right? Is like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of like the nostalgia of us that are now parents going like, I remember this. It'd be cool if I could do that with my kid. Bingo.
Yeah.
Um, but just the throwbackness of like they're hand drawn with color pencils. It's open world to create whatever you want. The style of it is so fitting for what we're doing. It's just
It's so much fun.
I want it to happen, and that's why we're here. Is because I was like,
Yeah.
guys, we got to do it. It's gonna be great. Um, it's so much fun.
Well,
Uh,
it's exciting too. You were talking about when we're talking about little kids. One of the things that little bitty kids love about books, and it's a stage on the step to literacy, is pretending to read to yourself, is looking at those pictures and pretending to read to yourself. And this just provides a really easy access for that, and they can make up whatever stories they want to.
my
It's
kid
so cool.
literally the other day, so he's 3 and cannot read yet.
Mhm.
Um, and he said he got a book from like free library in the neighborhood. Um, and we were getting in the car, so we were like, all right, we'll read it when we get home, but you can look at it. And he was like, but I don't know what the pages say yet to read it to myself.
Yeah, and now you don't have to, and that's kind of a joy. My nephew is turning 3 this year, and he likes to sit and read to himself and to you. He likes to have you sit down and go, all right, and then he'll flip the page and he'll turn it and he'll crack himself up too. He'll say something and he'll go, which is just the best thing ever. But having that freedom can be, I think, really encouraging for little kids to say, yeah, there's no wrong answer.
Well, and allowing them to discovery and play.
Yeah.
And like, it's nice to see that a lot of things are starting to lean that way again. From like, here is the way that you do things to like, no, it's open. What would you do?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm so excited about this. And it's fun because it can skew so young with what we're doing. Like, it works for so young all the way up.
Yeah.
That if you're looking for an easy in for telling stories together. So one of the things that my kid is learning with storytelling, collaborative storytelling, is sometimes you have to listen to then know the next part of the story,
Yeah.
because he is ready to just keep going. And that's fine. And sometimes we just let him do it. And sometimes we're like, this is a good learning moment to see how do we listen to each other and then tell it together.
Yeah.
And like, we're not rolling dice right now, although we roll dice just for fun.
Oh,
But we're not rolling dice based on can your character pull a bulldozer out of his pocket and get out of the dragon cave. That just happened.
Can you do that? No, roll for it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is such an out of the box idea. There's no need to roll. It is amazing.
He rolled nat 40. Good job. That was great.
Yeah. You only need to roll a 1 or higher. Oh, you did it.
Good job.
So it's just so cool to watch that happen and to watch him learn all of this, and then hoping to offer that to everyone else in an accessible way, so that, like, even if you haven't played role-playing games before, tabletop role-playing games, which people call TTRPG, you can jump in and do this. So part of the book, the intro of the book, is we have pages for grown-ups. We will help kind of explain the premise of the book to those who maybe don't feel comfortable with this idea, to help you feel comfortable, to realize you're just telling a story together. You're just making it up. There are basically no rules at all, other than have fun telling a story together. And then we give you kind of a roadmap of how to do it if you need that. So, like, select your adventurers. What is the problem of the day? How is that problem presented? Where are you in the setting? Which setting are you in? That's it. Your kid will take it from there.
Oh, yeah.
And half the time, in my head, I have like a general premise of a good solution for the problem. And half the time, I don't even have that anymore because his ideas are way better than any ideas I came up with.
Well, I feel like being a DM and being a parent have a lot in common in that way. It's unpredictable, and it's yes and. Which is the improv. If you've ever done improv or theater or an improv class, that's the big rule for improv is you yes and. What did you say? Yes and this. Let me add on, and that's a lot of fun. And I think you let your kids yes and you see where it goes. And hopefully that opens up curiosity for the grown-ups too, that curiosity and that imagination.
And I mean, it has for me, hence a book.
Yeah.
So there's no telling where else it would go. Just so much fun. So I think we'll probably end it here in just a second, but I'll tell you the latest story we were telling. Because we took a break and talked to the dragon. We became dragons last night and had dragons met dragons and talked about it. So we have, this is Green Bean, the dragon. And this is Fountain, who looks like water and is a water dragon. Green Bean breathes fire. Fountain breathes water. They're good buddies for that reason. Because they can counteract each other's accidents. Yeah, it's a good balance. But we just rescued the snowman, brought him home, and then we came to a castle that was on fire. We solved that, and then the princess of the castle said, as a reward, I'm going to tell you a secret. There is a room in this castle that's never been opened.
Ooh.
And all of this was just kind of happening. I was not planning it. He wanted to keep going, and I was like, well, we're going to make it up and see how this goes. And then we got to it, and he was like, why has it never been opened? And she said, well, it's locked, and no one knows where the key is, but there's a riddle. And I said all this, and then in my head went, all right, now you have to come up with the riddle.
Now you need a riddle.
So just pro move, don't set yourself up. But here's what came out, and I'm pretty excited about what he will do to solve it. The riddle was, the key is in the castle, and you see it every day, but it's not where you expect a key, so your mind washes it away.
Ooh.
Pretty fun. So I won't give away the answer, but let's just say as long as it involves water or something near water, this is going to be a good solution for me.
Yep.
So for a 3-year-old, yeah.
Brilliant. You did it. Amazing.
I mean, for real though. And he will figure this out, and it will be so much fun.
Well, and to be fair, for grown-up grown-up gamers are not very good at solving puzzles either.
That's the thing, right? Is like most DMs now are like, I don't do puzzles because like they're either really hard or they solve the hardest puzzle in like 3 seconds.
Yep.
And you're like, well, that's what I had planned today.
Or they can't solve puzzles for like toddlers.
Yep.
There's the ever-pressing problem of, can you open a door?
No. Which is exactly where we are right now. There's a locked
Yep.
door. But I'm going to watch, and he's not going to be worried about it.
Yep.
He's just going to go solve it, which is so much fun.
He's going to actually open the door.
So as we wrap, right, he's going to do the thing most groups have like fully disbanded before figuring out is how to open a door.
How to open a door.
Well, before we say goodbye, friendly reminder, we are live on Kickstarter, Collaborative Storybooks Fantasy Adventures. You can go check us out right now and support us. We have a big goal to make this happen, but it's gone up again, 1237. Got another backer. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
And it's a book of settings to tell your stories together. So instead of a driving narrative, it gives you free sandbox space with a lot of inspiration to come up with stories together and tell them. And my kid loves this, and I have one page. A second one will be printed out tonight to be used. But it's so much fun. I love it. Madeleine, our illustrator, depending on which feed you're looking at, is one of these places. And she is crushing it on this. So we have the front cover. We have the library, which is here. And then we have, as of yesterday, the cave. And these are just tiny little crops of the whole thing. The whole page is, when it's printed, will be 22 inches long by 8.5 tall. And is just going to be beautiful. I got a proof of just the one page in the book cover, and guys, it's so pretty. It's so good. I'm so excited.
And I'm so excited with how the colors are coming out in the prints. I'm so excited.
Yes, they're so bold. I was worried we were going to lose it, and no, they're coming out strong, which is great. Andrew Bowman just jumped on. Hello, Andrew. Thanks. He said congrats on the launch. We are excited. It's going well so far. We're trying to continue the momentum and hanging out with Madeleine, our illustrator, who's crushing it and doing well. You can find Madeleine everywhere as Madeleine Illustrated. And is it madeleineillustrated.com? Is that right?
Yep. Everything any way you find me is Madeleine Illustrated. It's easy peasy. And that's Madeleine spelled like the cookie.
Yeah.
So.
The extra E is there. Should we close with the funny thing that we didn't notice till it happened?
Yeah.
If you look very closely, I don't know if it'll even do it on camera. Yeah, it will. On the proof print that we sent, I fully misspelled her name.
And I didn't notice it either. You sent it to me.
Neither of us noticed it till we had the physical book and started building the Kickstarter page, and someone else noticed it.
It was my dad reached out to me and was like, "Hey, no big deal, but your name's misspelled."
So we will spell it correctly on the actual books that we make.
Yes, and it's on the Kickstarter page.
It is spelled correctly on the Kickstarter now, and everywhere that you see it, except for if you ever see me do a picture photo op with the real book in my hand, it's going to be
just
a
ignore it.
It's going to be
my name is not Madeleine.
Madeleine. La, 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 la. I think it's hilarious.
Oh, it's very funny. And again, you sent it to me. You sent it to me before you sent it in.
And because you spell your name uniquely, I double checked it like 35 times.
Yeah.
And still got
I know. I did again. I looked at it at least 3 or 4 before I was like, yeah, it looks great.
Classic. There's a book that their first run, so the title of the book was the last 2 words of the book. So it was like the classic thing, but they misspelled it in the last 2 words of the book.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I misspelled the author, so we're great. We're doing, or the artist. We're doing great here. I think it's hilarious.
Hey, we cut it before it's published. Everything's good.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about this project. Let me pull the cover back up. Fantasy Adventures, collaborative storybooks, fantasy adventures, settings to tell your stories together. So it's a book of settings like a dragon cave or a library or soon to be a castle and now a magic shop as decided by this live stream, which is amazing. Thank you, Explore Rooms, for the idea. Of course, it should be one of those. And so that is going to happen now, and we'll make that happen if you can help back us by either telling all your friends about it to go get it, supporting us on the Kickstarter, and when we make our goal, all of this will be made and in the world, and it will be incredible. And we're super pumped about it. And who knows if there's more after this.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited for this.
Madeleine, you're incredible. Your art is insane. I cannot believe that we were making this happen, but I can, and it's awesome. And thank you for your skills. Continue to do your stretches and workouts for your hands. We need those. Those are important. I could not finish this project without you.
I'm really excited to be on it. Thank you for the ideas and for pulling this together, for making this cool.
It's gonna be so good. Thank you everyone who watched on stream or who'll watch it later. We love you guys, and yeah, support, share, tell everybody, tell families, friends, anybody with kiddos, families. Honestly, I think adults would love this too. You could even do it to like throw out on your table and be like, you're now in a library. And that's your setting now for your role-playing game. I don't know.
Yeah, throw a map down underneath it and get going.
Just saying. All right, we're going to get out of here. Well done. Good luck. Everyone take care of yourself. Reach out if you're not doing okay. The world is crazy. So, yeah, take care of yourselves. Reach out here, too, if you need it.